Hey guys, and welcome to Some Things Fishy. Today we're going to be jumping into part 1 of our entry-level low-budget build series, which is where we are going to be taking a bunch of fish tank equipment that I purchased on the Facebook Marketplace and turning it into an awesome tank. So the first thing we got to do today is we need to fill up our tank with water and get that all sorted out, get the pump running and the siphon system going. So let's jump right into it. So we just got all the water we need for my saltwater tank. We had to go to some interesting extremes to try and transport it all here in one go. So we've got a couple of coolers, or 3 coolers, and this. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna siphon into this bucket, take it inside and fill up the tank. So when you're transporting water, you usually don't wanna carry the entire container with you inside. It's a lot of work to try and dump that. And since we're not hooking this up to any specific hose or anything like that, we have to do it piecemeal. So we're using a siphon. Okay, so you take the tube, and you stick it in the water like this, make sure it's underneath, and then you suck until you have water all the way up to your mouth almost, and then you can plug it and then pour. And that'll suck up the water through the hose because of gravity. So we gotta do like 10 more of these buckets and then we'll be done. So we just filled up our tank with water and we're about to start the siphoning so that we can get our sump going. This is kind of a weird process and I had no idea how to do this. I had to do some research and I just wanted to share it with everybody. So you do, so you take a thin tube like this and you push it up into the top, so you can't really see because you're gonna push it up into the top like that. Okay, you have to make sure there's water in both sides of your siphon. So there's water in this side and water in this side in this compartment. Then you lay it down like that, and then what you're gonna do is suck out the air. When we went to the fish store, I was hoping to not only get the salt water for this tank, but as well as get the substrate, so the sand, as well as the dry rock, so that we could set up the fish tank and get it cycling that day. Unfortunately, after looking at their prices, I wasn't too happy, and I figured it would be the same pretty much everywhere except for on Amazon or some other online store. So I went ahead and purchased that, and we got it in the tank. Of course, it takes a little bit longer for the cloudiness to settle when you already have water and in the tank when you add the sand as well as the rock. So that took a few days, but after that, everything looks great. So we've begun cycling the tank. We added this little elk over here because my dad's an avid hunter and we thought it would be kind of funny. And now he's a permanent resident. It started off as a joke, but now it's there. So we're gonna get this cycled and then next week we'll be able to add some fish. But for now, we have the lights running and everything like that. Some people say that you shouldn't turn the lights on until you have the fish settled for a while, but we figure it'll look good. And if we do end up having an algae problem, then we can just turn off the lights and it'll die. So that's our next step for next week. After purchasing both our sand and rocks on Amazon, I decided to look into what other great deals I could find online as opposed to going to our local fish store. And I found some really good products that I decided to move forward with and order and get them installed in our tank. Getting ready to head to the fish store. Finally got our full aquarium set up. It's been running for a few days, about a week. We're gonna use some turbo start, everything to get it running. So we actually got most of this stuff on Amazon. So the sand, the rocks, even the, so we have 2 lights. We have this one that just has full, it's just gonna light up the tank, and then this one that has full spectrum. Got all of it on Amazon besides a couple of things. So super excited to get a fish in here. It's gonna be great. The fish store that we have here in town opens every Friday and Saturday, so we have to wait a week before we can go. So I've been kind of getting ready for this trip all week long. This tank is actually for my dad in his office, so he's gonna come with us and pick out a fish. It's gonna be sweet. When my dad and I planned the stock list, we came up with some really good, cheap fish that we really like. My dad has some interesting color choices, so we went with those. And then as well as we wanted some really durable fish because we're relatively new at this, here at least, and he's gonna be the one taking care of it for the most part. So we wanted to make sure that that was the plan and that that was the intention. So this week we have to get a really strong and hardy fish to kind of set up our cycling. You can do the 4 to 6 week process where you slowly introduce ammonia into the tank, but instead this time we're gonna go with the easy newbie option, which is using turbo start. And that way we can get things rolling quickly and get a fish in our tank today. Fish store today, we need a couple of things. We need to get turbo start, which is for cycling your tank quickly. It introduces that beneficial bacteria that you need when you're starting a new tank. And we need a very hardy, healthy fish. So we're gonna wait on cleanup crew until we kind of get some sort of cycle and a little bit of an ecosystem going before we introduce that type of creature that needs to feed off of the leftover fish waste as well as the food that doesn't get eaten. So like I said, turbo start and a hardy fish. Okay, so we're getting ready to put our first fish in this tank. We just got back from the fish store, really excited. We got a little damsel, so that's exciting. I just want to talk about how to use this. This is called turbo start. This is basically so you can skip the whole cycling process. Well, not the entire cycling process, but give you a really great start on it. So the idea behind this is you throw in all the necessary bacteria to have your tank start to cycle, and that way you can put a fish in right away. So you put this in at the same exact time as your fish. We have our little damselfish floating around right here, in here anyway. So we're getting him acclimated, and while we're doing that, we're gonna throw this in. So here we go, I'm gonna introduce some bacteria. That's gonna go ahead and mix around in the tank.